One. All right, call to order the August 11th, 2022 meeting of the Madison County Board of Education. The first order is, or second thing on our agenda is division. Ms. Burford, would you read our vision for us?
Yes, I'd love to. Madison County Schools, in partnership with the community, strives to equip educators and students with the skills to lead by example, develop and speak a unique voice, and explore their academic curiosity to make a positive impact on our community and world.
Thank you. Next up is audience comments regarding agenda items. We have none. Okay. Next up is our consent agenda. These are items that the board sees regular and we are very familiar with. It's a lot of stuff we do over and over each month. The items to be approved on the consent agenda are the minutes of the July 14th, 2022 meeting, the claims, the record of the superintendent's personnel actions, the leaves of absence, declared technology surplus, approval of 2 out-of-state field trips. The first one being Madison Central cross-country team to Memphis, Tennessee, September 3rd, 4th, 2022. The second being Madison Central cross-country team trip to Cary, North Carolina, September 30th through October 1st, 2022. Appointing our ARC chairpersons, our Section 504 chairpersons, and to acknowledge the review of procedure 09.42811 AP.1. Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Have none. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cole,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Next, we have our monthly reports. First up is our instruction report. Tonight, we have Ms. Angie Wilcox, MTSS School Counseling Services, to present our district MTSS plan. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Good. Thank you for having me, Angie Wilcox. First of all, thank you for creating this position of an importance and commitment to mental health, which would be one of those things under the MTSS. So I know you've heard MTSS probably a million times, but really quick, I just kind of wanted to go through exactly those multi-tiered systems of support. So the biggest thing is that you think about them as 3 different areas. You think about academics and having 3 layered tiers. You think about behavior in 3 layered tiers, and mental health in 3 layered tiers. And when I say 3 layered tiers, tier 1 being that core evidence-based instruction that everyone gets, and then layering on using screeners or teacher recommendation assessments to get tier 2, layering on that support, and then if still needed, supporting those individuals in tier 3. So I know you've probably got that, but I just want to say that again, because a big focus that we've had even within the last month is training. The district has provided more MTSS training for everyone in the district, so all schools have been trained again this summer on that framework. Another thing is all schools are looking at how are we going to support kids in all 3 tiers. Thinking about the mental health aspect and that behavioral, social, emotional learning, one of the things that we're continuing to do this year with our elementary and middle schools is we've implemented that social emotional learning curriculum. Stanford Harmony being what we use for elementary, and Second Step, which is the curriculum that we use for our middle schools and our kindergarten academy. With our high schools, we still provide the suicide prevention piece from Lifelines for grades actually 6 through 12. So that covers middle school too. They get that as well. Another thing is, which is wonderful, every year they do a trauma training with the district. This year we have a Dr. Bruce Perry who's coming in, who is going to give the entire district a training on how your brain is changed by trauma and how we can help those kids who come to us that way. So, gosh, I had a list, but I didn't even really look. So I guess really I'm excited to come back to you all at the end of this year or later on this year to give you okay, how have we moved forward? So I think that's it.
How do you get that information to them about the Lifeline?
Carly Cornelius, our Director of Psychological Services, she meets with counselors, and Monday, we have a counselors meeting, and she will provide that. But she also sent the link to principals because it is a full staff, faculty have to do the training before the students get it, so.
Is that counselors in all of our schools?
It
Or
is,
Okay, good.
it is. Monday, we meet with everyone.
And then, so it's put out to all teachers, all staff, everyone knows how they can get assistance to students.
Yes, 6 through 12 for suicide prevention.
How do the students get it?
They get it from teachers. The teachers are responsible to pass that information on.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything else? Okay. Thank you. We
Thank
appreciate it very
you.
much.
Yes, thank you. And we appreciate the explanations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Mr. Ben Burnett, our Director of Technology. He's going to be talking about our data breach technology report.
Yes, sir.
Sounds fun.
It is. It always is. So every year we do a lovely data breach presentation. Let me check my clicker here. There we go. Do a lovely data breach presentation. It's a part of our KAR, and so we have to do it every year by the end of August. And so this year we are doing it just like always. We have to acknowledge our use of best practices. You know, each public school district shall review and consider, in light of the needs of reasonable security, the most recent best practice guidelines. And so, what is a data security breach? It's the unauthorized acquisition, distribution, disclosure, destruction, manipulation, or release of personal information that could result in the likelihood of harm to the individual. And so, you know, a lot of people have the misconception that names are, if we released a set of names, that it would be a data breach. Technically, a list of names in and of itself is not. It has to be something that could result in the likelihood of harm. And so if there's a way that we could prove that, then yes, it would be. But it has to be something that results in harm, otherwise it's not technically considered a data breach. And so, what is our personal information? It's any combination of the first name, first initial, last name, personal mark, or unique biometric or genetic print, along with any of these things. So we have the social security number, taxpayer identification information, you know, all of those things that obviously we don't want in the hands of malicious intenders, right? And so in accordance with KRS 61.931, 61.932, and 61.933, we have certain things that we have to follow if we experience a breach. We have to conduct an initial, y'all, it's been a day, I can't talk today. We have to conduct an initial investigation should a complaint be filed. And then from there, if the event is considered a data breach, we have some things that we have to follow. And so what do we do if we confirm that a breach has occurred? The district shall notify within 72 hours the Commissioner of the Kentucky State Police, the Auditor of Public Accounts, the Attorney General's Office, and the Commissioner of Kentucky Department of Education. We then must conduct a further investigation to see if the breach that occurred is something that could be used to cause harm, like we talked about. And so if that's the case, we do an investigation and we determine that that is something that could happen. We have then 48 hours to notify those same people, plus the Commissioner of the Department of Libraries and Archives. And so our relevant board policies are as follows. The procedure defines that within 35 days of providing these notices, the district shall notify all individuals that are impacted by the security breach. Depending on the number of people to be contacted, notification may be in the form of face-to-face meeting, phone call, posting on the website, or sending a written notice to each affected person. And if the number of individuals exceeds 1,000, we must also notify all consumer credit reporting agencies that are included on a list that's maintained by the Office of the Attorney General. Now, we say all that to say that we feel that we are pretty secure in the county. We take lots of steps to ensure that we are safe. Now, no system obviously is perfect, but we feel that we do a pretty good job. And so some of the things that we do all the time, we identify hard copy and digital data that needs to be protected. We provide awareness training to our staff. I actually did one at Madison Middle today. And we try to keep them short, but decently entertaining. You know, today we talked about our emails, how we use, I know, right? Fun. But today we talked about how we use our emails and how we can keep those things secure. You know, we talked about multi-factor authentication while we have it. We talked about making sure that you just check those email addresses for things when your emails come through. You know, right now, the spoofs online are the ones where Dr. Gillum, for instance, would send me a an email that says, I'm in a meeting, I need you to go buy 20 gift cards that are worth $100 a piece and send me all of the codes because I can't go do it myself because I'm in this meeting, you know. Obviously, if Dr. Gillum sends me something like that, my spidey senses are going to go off. And so we talked to them about the fact that trust your gut, always look to make sure that that email address is legitimate, that, you know, you got things through, all that kind of thing. We provide physical security for access to hard copies and digital records. We provide software security for our digital records. And then we do a lot with physical security. We keep our stuff behind keys. We do lots of battery backups. We do climate control. A lot of people wouldn't think about climate control, but it is important for the integrity of our equipment. And one of the pieces on there was destruction. If we lose those records, that is technically somewhat of a data breach. And so we try to make sure that those things are maintained. We have remote backups. We do all of those kinds of things. We take care of some software security. We do updates on our teacher computers. We, as you all were so gracious to us with some of the new teacher computers that we put in, we don't just do that for speed, though speed is important. It is also, staying up to date with our Windows systems and, making sure that our teachers have the latest and greatest, not just to be the latest and greatest, but to also keep them secure. We restrict admin access. And so we make sure that those local admin accounts are fewer and farther between. It's one of the things that is on our cybersecurity insurance policy, for instance, but it's also something that it stops the spread of malware and some things like that. So we take care of our network. And so we do minimum rights as far as access to our network resources. If you are at Shannon Johnston, for instance, you can't access anything that's at Kingston, things like that. Teachers are required to have strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, all that good stuff. And so 702 KAR 170 just requires that the district acknowledge that prior to August 31st, we have reviewed the guidance of the KAR and implemented best practices. And so, I know I went through that pretty fast, but if you all have any questions, feel free to ask and I can answer anything you like.
I got two questions.
Go for it.
One, I was thinking about this today because I just did my cyber awareness at work, so
nice.
good timing.
Yeah.
Have we ever thought about common access cards for staff and faculty, like teachers?
When you say that, you mean like common access?
It's the card that's got the little chip in it. They insert it into the keyboard so that it's got all their information already on it and what they can access, what they can't. It's kind of part of the two-factor authentication.
Yeah, so you're talking of like a physical thing you plug in. We don't have that capability just yet. The state has been talking to us lately about, it's called the Baseline Security Project. And once they do that, I don't know if we'll have that option or something else, but we are looking at something like that.
And second thing is, you was talking about going to Madison Middle. Are there programs out there that we can put out that's online that teachers can do, say 30 minutes, do a cyber awareness class, basically?
Yeah. I'm looking into that right now with Mr. Muntz and our frontline. I'm wondering if they have something that's already pre-prepared. If not, if nothing else, it's something that we could pre-prepare.
I mean, I would think someone's got one out there somewhere. It deals with the personal identification and how to lock and maintain, what's safe, what's not safe.
Yeah, that is a good idea, and we are looking into something hopefully similar to that very soon. Yep. Sounds
I'm
good.
glad to see some multi-factor authentication going on.
Yeah.
That's good.
I appreciate it. Our teachers at first were just a little leery about it, but we haven't had any issues for a long time.
It's a little bit of a pain, but.
And it's scary because you have to use your cell phone. And,
Yeah, it serves its purpose, though.
Yeah,
It helps with the insurance.
it does.
Yep.
Well, and I can't remember the latest statistic, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of all hacking instances are mitigated by multi-factor authentication if you have it set up. So that's way over half. I mean, that's really good. So,
Well, I mean, there's so many things in life that are going to multi-factor authentication,
Yes, sir.
Especially if you do online billing and payments and stuff.
yes, sir.
I've done several this morning that I had to do two-factor, I put in my information, then they send me an email, and I got to type in the little code just to get into my account. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's-
it's aggravating, but actually makes me feel a little more secure into myself. So,
It's just the world we're living in now,
yes, sir.
so.
So you guys are gonna go to every school?
That's the goal. So we have,
I'm wondering how many you have left.
So we have 19 left as of right now.
Oh, so you just started.
We just started. So Madison Middle, so this was first day back for staff. We were the
Right.
opener. So they introduced their new staff, and then Ms. Gallion turned it over to us.
Okay.
But we have Cottle already on the schedule for next Tuesday. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to work it into a teacher meeting every so often. Presentation's about 15 minutes, and it's, which, like I said, we try to keep it short. I show TikTok in it, so I try to keep it entertaining as well. And yeah, we just kind of
That's
walk
good.
through it best we can.
Well, you wore the right color. So
Say that again.
You wore the right color.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah. See, I
Be a
was.
Madison Middle.
I told him I was flying the Madison Middle flag today with my
There you
purple.
go.
So,
Yeah, you just have to keep that up for all the other.
yeah, I know, right? I have to keep all the polos in my car and just change as I go. Yeah. Schedule all my reds in one day.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything else
I
for
thought maybe
Ben?
you started on Monday, but okay,
Yeah.
not today.
Thank you, sir. We
All right.
appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our construction report. I think due to the accident on the interstate that Mr. Thomas is held up in traffic, so we got the PowerPoint, and I think Dr. Gillum's going to flip to it and kind of give us a quick update.
Sure, yes. So we've got, what he sent us was just several pictures of the construction that we have going on, and I've been out to all of these either today or tomorrow, or today or yesterday, or tomorrow, probably, but today or yesterday, and a couple of them both days. So start with Clark Moore's. They did have open house there Monday night, and they still have a lot of stuff going on at Clark Moore's, or did that night. It's getting better every single day. They were able to get the paving finished up and the striping done in the parking lots. You can see that. So, and let me actually back up the front piece right there. You can see right up in the top right-hand corner, they've got one more piece to set. Still a few days left before school starts, but we'll get that piece in. They'll get those patched together there, and then take all the scaffolding down. So shouldn't have any trouble doing that in the next couple of days. There's what the lobby looks like now, and if you were in there 3 or 4 days ago, it didn't look like that. You know, it has come a long way in just a few days. You can see the paper over there on the right-hand side where they've got everything kind of cleaned up, and they're putting down papers they have to walk through, and still working on some things. Yeah, you can see a guy with his head up in the ceiling right there. So this is the library. See a lot of work going on there, just about done with it. There's the carpet, and then they'll put in all of the casework and everything, all the bookshelves.
Dr. Gillum,
so
that's
forth.
going to be one of the last rooms.
This should be,
Project's done there?
this is the last part.
Okay, that's what I thought. you
On the
told me.
inside.
Yes.
Now, they will
Yeah.
still have some touch-up around the outside, and there's, when we get around to the, I think there's a picture in here in just a second. There's the cafeteria. We set up temporary tables because we asked that our tables be delayed, our cafeteria tables be delayed, because we didn't want them arriving during the middle of the construction. So they went onto the back of the queue in the production piece, so it may be a couple months before we actually get our new cafeteria tables in. But that's where we are there. But we did set up temporary, so we should be in good shape there.
So they'll be able to use cafeteria
Oh,
when
yeah.
school starts?
Sure. Now, the kitchen, there's still a little bit of work to do in the kitchen. There were some parts on the freezer component. If you recall, Tony talked to you a little bit last time about the freezer and refrigerator. Some of those items are back ordered, and they've had trouble getting those in, so they will open without freezer and refrigerator. They brought in temporary refrigerators for back there, and the contractors have already had those brought in and installed, which is the same amount of refrigeration space. It's just they have to step outside to use it. So hopefully that'll get fixed soon. The kitchen area, everything is hooked up. It's just a matter of cleaning it up at this point, but it may take a couple of days to get it cleaned up. But everything is rolling right along with it. But it does have in fact, you can kind of see if you look at the very back, that back door back there, you can kind of see sunlight coming through. That's because that's where that freezer goes, and it's not installed yet because it's not on site yet. Band room, new band room looks great. Talked to the band director out there yesterday. We had a good conversation. He's very excited about new band room. I'm not sure where that is, just to be honest with you. There is the athletic building out back, the concession stand and locker room facility. They will still, you can see there's still a little bit of work to do there. They have some finishing touches, and then they'll have to do the sodding and seating and some grade work. But that was scheduled to be done after the opening of school. As soon as, they worked hard on this leading up, and as soon as we got kids out of the building for the summer, their attention turned to everything on the inside, so. And looks like that's just a new door, water fountains. There's a TV that's installed somewhere in a classroom. So I'm sure Tony had a story about that. And that's the finished product of what it's gonna look like. So, anything on Clark Moore's that you all have for me?
You mentioned the cleanup that has to be done. Do the contractors do that cleanup? Or are our guys, custodians having to do that?
Well, it's both. They have cleanup in the areas that they construct. Of course, if you all have ever, been through construction in your homes and other places, they get this clean, then they move over here, well, all that gets dirty again because they're stirring up dust and everything else. So we're working with them to try to get them to go back and backtrack as much as they can, but really that's, once they've cleaned it out, that's really kind of on our custodians and stuff. But there is definitely a lot of dust out there, but I think it'll be, we still have a few days, and I do know we've got crews coming in over the weekend as well to work.
Are you gonna have us be able to store on the first day of school, or
We are,
I haven't heard
yes.
it? So
Those
maybe
water
I could
fountains
get
are
the
all
schedule.
working too, right?
We will get us,
Available for-
you don't have a schedule, because I don't have a schedule yet. We'll get a schedule to you. And,
You said that like I should know it, but.
no.
Dr. Gillum,
absolutely
question
not.
real
Yes.
quick. Those water fountains are working, right? I mean, there's water to them, it's working. And because of, COVID in the past, not that it's gone away, but they're open and available to our students, right?
Yeah, the water fountains right there, that's one of the things I've kind of checked as I've been in yesterday and today. I don't know about those right there specifically, but every water fountain or faucet that I've went by, or toilet, they
It's
are
working.
working, they're flushing and water's to them and they're on.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Any other questions on Clark Moore's? All right, then, the dugout project, they put it on hold and backed off, put temporary roofs on so we could finish the season. They're back on that work. You can see roof there, it's almost finished on one of the dugouts. You just sent that one in as a piece to kind of take a look at. And the one piece that kind of slowed all of this work down was the concrete roofs. We decided to go with concrete roofs, which is a totally different, creates a lot of structural, not issues necessarily, but it's a much more complex process if you do a poured concrete roof. And we're doing poured concrete roofs. They're better, but it does take a little while. So this is all the shoring set up for those. They will pour those and get all of that wrapped up and tidied up and finished, we hope, real soon within the next few weeks. So, Ignite North. It is really close to being ready. I mean, teachers are in, they've been in and out, they've got equipment in there. As you can see right here, actually, there's a couple of spots there where the grass needs to be mowed at this point. So the sod's down, parking lots are in, striped, everything. They were cleaning windows today. Looks like they got most of those clean. Doing a few little touch-up painting pieces there in that lobby. They'll be getting all that equipment out the next, those lifts and everything out the next day or two. So,
Aren't janitors gonna have to clean those windows? Not
Well,
just this time, but.
we may, I got the card for that crew that was out there cleaning it. So
Yeah,
we may work on that.
Hire that out.
Imagine that they.
Have them come out there a couple times a year and give a good clean to those on the outside especially. So this is one of the lab spaces in there. This, again, the same. Front office, front desk. You can see we've got furniture in there now. So as you can see, it's coming together nicely. Good thing we still have a couple more days, but we're ready to roll. And so you can see all of the, all of this equipment, all of this stuff in the middle is stuff that we moved in the last several days. So that's one of the wash stations and so forth.
And we're gonna plan.
There's the guys actually washing, I said the guys were washing the windows, there's a guy washing them right now. So, what's that?
We're gonna plan an open house. of some
We're
sort.
going to do open house at Clark Moore's, we'll be doing an open house here, we'll be doing an open house at the one in Berea, so, yeah. Get you a new party dress, because we're gonna be,
We're
we're
going
gonna be
out.
doing some open house, events here.
So Dr.
We're
Gillum,
trying
on
to get those scheduled
Wednesday,
out.
when students start
Yes.
school,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know where they're going. I mean, my child's a junior and she's already toured Central again to make sure she knew where she was going.
Yes.
I know there's a little bit of anxiety about when they get there,
Yeah.
who's going to be there to direct them,
Okay.
so that parents watching
We're
us on
getting word
Facebook
out
will
to
know.
all Central, day one, they'll report to Central. And then they will be told and given complete directions for day
I was
two.
gonna say, I've been to
Yeah.
two orientations
Yeah.
out there, so on day one, even those students who are to be at Ignite first and second period,
They report to
they are
Madison
to
Central.
go to Central.
Yeah.
And then Central will direct them, they're gonna check them all off, make sure
Mm-hmm.
all the students that are supposed to be going are going. Everybody has to ride the bus day one
Day one.
to Ignite.
Yeah. So they can get them over there, show them.
Make sure they're
what
not
it's
sending
like.
somebody
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
have a number on how many students are going to be participating over there?
I do not have a current number, because, high school schedules,
That's okay.
they change right up to the, to the first week.
We just wanted to-
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 days
You
past
know how
school.
that is. So,
It could change.
yeah, but I think we have pretty good numbers out there. Yeah, yeah, so. All right. Anything else on Ignite North? All right. Then, activities building down at Southern, the slab that we're doing, he's got a couple pictures in here of it. So they're prepping that slab to be poured. And then we get down to the Ignite South. A little more work to be done here than in Richmond. Of course, it did start a few months later. But the big issue that we'll see, or that has gotten us a little more behind on this one, is some of those parts and so forth for the HVAC system. They could not get everything. They could not get controlled air, so they can't finish some of the things until that controlled air is up and running and everything. It is now, and they've made good progress. You can see here all the terrazzo's done, everything in that main hallway. They've got the floors covered as they work, looking pretty good. Have not finished. You can see the ceiling grids are out because they have to wait a few days on the controlled air. So it climatizes so those things don't sway. But this is the welding lab down there, really close to being ready to go. There's a picture of Mr. Clark over there, eyeballing everything. Classroom here, everything's down and ready to go. Looks like we've got some equipment over there, or some material over there on the right-hand side. But again, the big piece you'll notice time and again here is the ceiling grids. Some of those or the ceiling tiles are out, again, because they haven't completed those finishes, and there's still some touch-up paint pieces that they need to do. But the commercial kitchen there, that is very impressive. It's a really nice piece. And I'm told that all the equipment in there is now hooked up and running, or ready to run.
And that's for the culinary piece.
That's for the culinary kitchen. Yeah. So there's another shot of the welding lab. There's the MDF room where all of our computer stuff gets hooked up and everything. Storage building out back. You can see they still have to do the finish paving here. They've got the preliminary coat down, but do not have the finished coat or the striping done in Berea yet. But that, I think at the Richmond Center, took about 3 days for them to do finish coat and striping. So that is not, I think Allen Company does that. They have the bid on that, so they will come in and get that knocked out very quickly as soon as we're ready to go. And then there's the sod out there, which again goes down quickly. They take their time on that. No need to rush that, because as you saw in the Richmond piece, we're going to have to mow it. So not in a big rush on that.
So are all of our students at Southern that are gonna be in that program, are their classes going to temporarily be at Southern? Or
Yeah,
is there any
yeah,
gonna
they've,
be at
they found a few
Bearstown or
little
anything
extra
like that?
spaces and so forth, and just,
So they'll just all stay at Southern?
they will stay at Madison Southern. In fact, we've got a diesel engine that was, a dry diesel engine that was delivered down to Madison Southern, so the diesel engine class can start day one looking at diesel engine. So that's the plan, yep.
Okay, that's good.
Then we'll move it over to the, to Ignite South.
As long as they all
soon
know
we
where
can.
they're going and what they're supposed to be doing, that's good.
So it'll, we're not where we wanted to be, but honestly, we're in pretty good shape, and a lot of work has been done in the last few weeks. So, any other questions on construction?
All right. Next, we'll move on to our action agenda. First up, 6A is to approve our monthly financial reports. Mr. Woods. Martin, the clicker.
Oh, you need to clear? I'll need that in a minute. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Mark?
Fine, how are you all?
Good.
All right, we'll start first with the monthly financial report. We'll start with the bank rec. All right. As of July 31st, the district ended with a reconciled balance of $61,994,739.51. You can see there, just looking at that, it is down sizably compared to the year before, but we just went through the construction report. We've been paying out a lot of invoices for construction. So that's where we're down, is due to all of that. Of the reconciled balance, the district has $5,740,990.65 in investments. The rates that we have on those are 0.15 to 0.55. I've got a meeting scheduled sometime next week with one of the other local banks, and we should be able to improve on that by nearly 2 percentage points at this point, is what they're telling me up front. We'll see what they actually come out with, but I will be looking to maximize our investments on that so that we can get our interest, hopefully, our interest earnings back up to where they used to be in prior years. In your packet, you also had your balance sheet and revenue and expense report. Of course, at this time, it's hard to really look at those because we're just getting going. We don't run payroll during the month of July, so most of it's just supplies. Supplies would be the biggest area that you see. A lot of the income coming in during July is actually income from June, so we're actually having to post that back to the prior year. Those books are still open, and we're getting ready for audit with those. Any questions?
No. If we don't have any questions, can I have a motion to approve the monthly financial reports as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Burford,
Second.
second by Ms. Cool. All those in favor? Aye. All right, next we'll go to our annual finance report.
All right, so each year, after we get through some of the postings in July and everything, I bring the financial report back to you. In your packet, you had a balance sheet and a revenue and expense report, very similar to what you saw at the end of June. The changes that we've made have been reconciling entries that have to be done at the end of the year and some cleanup as we prepare for the financial audit. Like I said, we're still posting items back at the, we have expenditures that invoices are coming in as we've received items, and we're still posting those expenditures back as well as any revenue that trickles in at this point. So what I like to do is give you a little different view of this, because you've seen the hard financial reports, and they were in your packet. So ask questions as we go along. So for fiscal year 22 ended June 30th, this is where our revenue broke down for general fund. We were at 47.78% local money. Our state money was at 51.31%, and then just a little bit of federal money and other items, reimbursements, where we have accidents and we have insurance claims, things like that, make up the remainder of it. As you can see there, the gap between local and state is narrowing each year. We get closer and closer, and it continues to narrow in there. And what I'll say about this, that's even with us getting the full kindergarten funding last year. So the SEEK dollars there being moved up on the AEDA to full instead of half, you can see the gap's still closing there, that our local revenue, the cuts we take in our state revenue continues to happen, so it's actually getting smaller there. Here's kind of how the expenditures broke down, and you see that first piece on the graph right there, that's instruction. So what I did, I took, just to run some numbers, I took the instructional, that first column right there, then I took student support services, which is direct to students, and instructional staff support, so direct instruction-related support. That's your first three items right there. If you add all of those together, that's 67.5% of our general fund budget. We are spending our money on instruction. We are intentionally guiding the funds towards instruction. The next bigger columns are all the way down towards the end. The first one there is plant and operations. That's paying the electric bills and maintaining our facilities. That's always going to be a large category. You have to keep those up. All of your utilities and everything run out of that. And the next one over from that, at 9.5%, that's transportation. So the way this breaks out and the way Munis breaks it out, transportation is a separate piece from instruction-related costs. So you can see we are really guiding our expenditures. We are making sure that it's targeted at instruction. We've kind of shown this for a couple of years just so you have an idea of kind of where we fall compared to the state. This is the old, they no longer make us do this calculation, but this percentage is the way that the state calculated. It's a percent of instruction. So our admin expenditures versus instruction dollars. The skew there between 2021 and 2022, we did have raises in 2022, but that number is actually skewed quite a bit because if you remember, we talked about the state redirected some of our SEEK dollars out of general fund into federal funds, and we had to pull instruction dollars and move them over there. So it actually, that number is not as off. It didn't really raise that much, but it looks that way because we had redirection of our expenditures between 21 and 22. I will, point out that the state average, we are well below that state average of 18.58%. So another way to say this and to look at this, for every $100 we spend on direct instruction, we're spending 12.6 to administer those funds and make sure that all the bills are paid and all those types of functions. We keep the lights on. We're only spending $12.66 for every 100 that we put into direct instruction. So that's a very powerful number. For me, a financial person looking at that, that is powerful to me because that still, again, points out we're directing all of our dollars to instruction.
So that 12.66, that's our electric bills, the transportation.
So that would be
Or
like
just admin
the
costs?
finance department, HR department, those types of functions, the board costs, that's those costs. One I kind of disagree with in this calculation that the state pulled in was principals. I personally believe principals are directly related to instruction. They work with kids daily, but they do pull in that into the cost. But
So is that number in here, the principals?
yeah, so when you take principals, board activities, the business activities of HR, IT, and finance, for every $100 we spend on direct instruction, we're only spending $12.66 to cover those. Oops, I think I hit the wrong button there, Tammy. There we go. I got it. Sorry, my thumb doesn't move like I need it to right now. General fund, our salary and fringe percentage. 78.13% of our general fund is spent on salary and fringe. We want to keep that below 80, so that's the target, always stay below 80. So we're maintaining that throughout the years. So for this last year, here are some of the things that impacted our balance, positive impacts. Community growth, our Medicaid revenue was strong. USF reimbursements, those are items we get back on technology purchases. Management of our financial resources, just maintaining those and making sure that we're diligent in what we're doing. Full per pupil funding on kindergarten students in the SEEK formula, and then the stimulus funds to offset any additional expenditures stemming from inflation over this past year. So we were able to hedge some of our inflation because we managed our funds properly, and we were able to not see as big of an impact. Now this next year, we are going to have some impact from that. You know, all of our costs are going up. On the horizon for the next couple of years, we got to be mindful. We actually had a small decrease in classified retirement for this year that we're in, but it's looking like the year after that, we'll probably see the 12% increase in that. That's a pretty sizable impact on our budgets, usually anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 just for that when that happens. With growth comes other issues. District growth can cause further reductions in our Tier 1 state SEEK funding, so we actually get reductions for being a growing district. Additional staffing needs from that growth. Reduced indirect funding as the ESSER and ARP funds deplete and they sunset. You know, we were given 3.5 years to spend those. We do get some indirect funding to help with the administrative side of taking care of those funds. That will be reducing over time, so we've got to be mindful of that. Completion of the CSEP bus lease. You know, it's not very long before we will no longer have that, and that's funding that comes into the general fund. And then inflationary impacts on our district expenditures. I'll leave it open for any questions you might have.
I just want to, you talked about the district growth is affected by the SEEK funding, or the SEEK funding is affected by the growth. Just got to remember that they just come out, Richmond and Berea both were in the top 10 fastest growing cities in the state. So that's going to have a huge impact on us over the next few years.
Yes, yes it will.
But also with that, when you're talking about a portion of that growth, when we talk about where we get more tax dollars from the increase in assessments and things of that nature, the more we get there, the less the state gives us.
Yes, so as your tax base grows, they actually reduce based on your taxable base.
Right.
So yes, that does create a reduction in your SEEK funding because they start shifting more to the local.
Yeah, I think a lot of our community thinks the more tax, the more our assessments and whatnot increase, the more money we as a district get. And it actually works the opposite.
Yes.
Because we usually get less from the state than what we get in the increase.
Mhm.
It usually causes us to go backwards.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of a misnomer.
Anything else for Mark on our annual report? No. All right, next up, we'll go to 6B, which is to approve the fiscal year 23 motor vehicle tax rate.
All right, so it's almost more of a formality. This rate has been set by statute since 1983. Really, we just bring it to the board to have you all approve moving forward with this. Like I said, this has been set in stone since 1983, same rate. We can increase it, we don't increase it, so.
So this is the rate, it's the same as prior years, not changed since 1983 per KRS 132.487 at 55.8 cents per 100 assessed value on motor vehicles and watercraft.
Correct.
So anyone have any questions, comments? Can I have a motion to approve the 2023 fiscal year motor vehicle tax rate?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb,
Second.
second by Ms. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is 6C, which is to approve the memorandum of understanding with Berea Independent Schools. You want to say anything on this?
I'll be glad to. It's with their, of course, we have a memorandum of understanding with the takeover of the Area Technology Center. We have a memorandum of agreement with Berea Community and Estill County and Model as well. And this is just a memorandum of understanding with Berea Community for students to participate at the Ignite South, if there is room in those classes, if there are available seats, and then they'd reimburse us for it. So,
I just want to say that we're not using this to knock our kids out of
Oh,
the
no.
technology center. So
yeah.
it'll, if we have extra space, then we'll open it up to them. They can send kids. You have any comments, questions? All right, can I have a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding for Berea Independent School students to attend the Ignite Academy South as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Burford,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next up is 6D, which is to approve 2 emergency teacher certifications. You can say something on this?
Yeah, 2 science teachers, we did not have folks who were fully certified, so we have to emergency certify. These folks do have degrees and so forth, it's just they don't have certification in that area yet, so.
And we want to make sure people understand these people are qualified.
Oh, they are, yes, yes. You,
Qualified
yeah,
to
the way the
teach.
certifications work, there's a variety of different certification pieces, and, but we go with folks who are certified first, if we don't have those, which it is, I'll just be honest with you, it is getting thin in some, across the board, but specifically for certain certifications, so, yeah. But yes, very qualified folks.
Anyone have any questions, comments, any other? If not, can I have a motion to create, ratify, oh, nope, that's the wrong one. To approve emergency certification for 2 science teachers at Madison Middle School for the 2022-2023 school year.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Burke, second by Ms. Cole. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Wrong, let's get it done wrong line. Next up is 6E, is to create and ratify 2 family service worker positions. You want to-
Yeah, state Family Resource Youth Service Center funding did increase. The legislature did put additional funding into that, which is allocated per pupil, so our high schools had additional funding. So they'd like to hire an additional worker to work with families and kids. So that's what this is. It'd be a one-year piece based off of the current funding.
Any questions, comments? Now, can I have a motion to create and ratify 1 family service worker position at Madison Central High School and 1 family service worker position at Madison Southern High School, which will be funded through each school's Family Resource Center funding?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cole,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Cobb. All those in favor? Aye. Next up is 6F, which is to create and ratify 2 athletic site managers. I think we've done this previously.
Yeah, we've done this for several years. We don't provide these positions through the district themselves, but the school site-based council, school gets approval from the site-based council to use their funds, athletic funds, or, and then the next one there, the assistant coaches, to booster funds, to be able to provide these positions. There's two athletic site managers, $1,500 each, gives them an additional couple of additional people to be able to work ball games and so forth. And then I'll go ahead and speak on the next one. We're not
Okay.
there yet, but the other one is assistant football coaches. I think it's $1,077, just an additional stipend, so they can have a few extra hands out there working with the teams. So again, paid for by the school.
Any questions, comments? All right, we'll do 6F, which is to create and ratify 2 athletic site manager positions at Madison Central High School at $1,500 stipend each, paid for through their athletic funds. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cole,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next one is to create and ratify 3 assistant football coach positions at Madison Central High School at $1,077 stipend each to be paid for from the football club account. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor? Aye. All right, next up is to approve the final reading of policies 03.11 and 03.21 and 09.12. These are just some policy changes that we had. We've already read them once, and I think we've seen them before. So can I have a motion to approve the final reading of policies 03.11, 03.21, and 09.121?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor? Next up is 6I, which is to approve the renewal of Image Learning.
Yeah, that's our Edgenuity program, as you all heard it described probably many times over the last several years. That's an online curriculum that we utilize across the district, really, with middle and high particularly. And it's the piece that we use for at the Bellevue Learning Center. So it's a very good program. We've used it for years. We just want to continue using it. It's an annual subscription.
Questions, comments? If not, can I have a motion to approve the renewal of Image Learning, formerly Edgenuity, for $50,905 as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cool,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor? Next up is to consider the renewal of our cyber liability insurance.
I'll take this if you guys want me to. I'll just give you just a quick overview of what Mr. Livingston did. He basically brought us a quote from a cyber company and then also a quote to add coverage to our existing policy. There is significant difference in the premium and in the deductible, a little bit of difference in a couple of the coverages. So the cyber liability quote is like $42,000 with a $50,000 deductible. To add it to our existing EMC policy with a $10,000 deductible is $2,781. There are 2 areas that I looked at, and I've talked with Dr. Gillum, I've talked with Ben, and I've talked with Mark, that have, the limits are lower with EMC for misdirected payments and ransom and extortion. And we feel like we have got risk controls in place, and we're willing to, I think we're fine with that risk. We basically have to have an $80,000 loss between the difference in the price and the deductible. I think we're fine to spend the $2,781 instead of $42,000. That's my opinion.
I appreciate your opinion.
Yeah, because it looks like Greek to me,
Yeah.
so.
But we all felt those 2 areas that are the main difference between the 2. We feel like we've got those buttoned up pretty well. Now, there's no guarantee,
Right.
but the difference in the cost and taking on that risk,
I think
I'm comfortable with.
the work that Ben's done over the last year or so, really
Yeah.
stepping up and getting, that was a big part of that
And
2
the
factor.
controls that Mark has in place on, misdirected payments and somebody getting in our system and paying bills that they aren't authorized to pay. We've got all the controls in place for that as well. So I think it's worth saving the $40,000. That's a,
Substantial amount.
yeah, that's some employees.
Yeah.
And they've added all this extortion to
Yeah.
it in the
Yeah.
last several years too, so.
And we're in good shape on the extortion piece, and here's why. If you're a business, you have a lot of proprietary pieces, and if somebody gets in and hacks your system and locks you up, you have nowhere to go. You have to do something in order to get that back and up and running. For us, honestly, if someone were to come in and lock up all of our systems, we just wipe everything and start from scratch because everything's backed up. We have no proprietary pieces that we have built that we're storing on our systems that we would lose. So that's, we really don't see a circumstance where we would pay ransom or extortion money, so, yeah.
Any other comments? Any questions? Very good. All right. Can I have a motion to consider adding cyber liability insurance rider to our current EMC policy in the amount of $2,781 as presented?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb,
Second.
second by Ms. Cool. All those in favor? Aye. Next up is 6K, is to approve our third and hopefully final truckload of copy paper.
Yeah, I feel like we just did.
So I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna go to the motion. So
Supply chain issues.
can I have a motion to approve the purchase of 1.5 truckloads of white copy paper, 1,260 cases for $53,638.20 with Action Business Suppliers?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Ms. Burford,
Second.
second by Ms. Cool. All those in favor? Aye. Next up is to amend and ratify our custodian position. I think this has to do with their Ignite Academy North and South. I think we've been having some trouble finding some people.
Well, yeah, initially, I remember we had, their initial design when we first posted these positions was to kind of operate those under the schools, so in which case, but then we decided that we'd let them operate as separate entities. And so if that's the case, we've got an individual out there serving as custodian, they're responsible for that whole building. We ought to compensate them at the head custodian rate, which is about $1.60 an hour more than a custodian. It's not a head custodian, so
Right.
I recommend we do that.
I think
Questions?
it's very wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
If they're gonna have the responsibility,
Yeah.
they need the,
And they're gonna be by themselves, so. I
Right.
mean,
A lot of
it's-
square
they
footage.
need
Yeah.
the salary.
So can I have a motion to amend and ratify the custodian positions at Ignite Academy North and Ignite Academy South to a head custodian position?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Cobb,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Burford. All those in favor? Aye. All right, next up is number 7, which is our superintendent's report.
All right. You pull that up there. All right, well, yeah, let me start off by saying that I'm very, very proud of all of the ways that our school and our entire community stepped up to assist the folks in Eastern Kentucky. I'm sure you all saw some different social media postings and saw some different things out there. Now, I always say, you may have heard me mention that we need to focus on the things that unite us rather than divide us. And this was certainly an action that united all of our schools and united our entire community, the Madison County community, around helping those fellow Kentuckians. So very proud of all the efforts there and appreciate everyone that donated, that drove to Eastern Kentucky to deliver items and to help out with the cleanup and all of the different things that happened. So we really appreciate that. Very proud. Also, our community is very united in school safety, and making sure that we provide a very safe environment for our kids. Obviously, you know what the work that we're doing across the district, but the past couple of weeks, I've been in several meetings with our local first responders, planning and preparing and training, meeting and discussing the best way that we can to provide safe environments. And appreciate our local EMA folks. They coordinated actually a Safe Schools meeting yesterday, so we appreciate them. Our local law enforcement agencies, again, they've conducted training, seminars. They've trained in our schools, doing simulation exercises. We have some more trainings and things planned. But our local police departments, first responders, have been meeting with our school safety teams individually and going over their safety plans and walking the buildings with them. And remember, we have 19, soon to be 21 buildings, and they have to meet with every one of those. So that's a pretty significant piece there, but they send folks out to do that the whole time. Also, our Madison County Sheriff, the Berea Police Department, Richmond Police Department, our County Attorney Jenny Heyman, and also our State School Safety Marshal Ben Wilcox were all presenters at our Principal Academy last week. So we're just getting a lot of cooperation from those folks. They're very concerned. They're very vested in what we're doing. So we really appreciate them. Got some other news hot off the press. Amy Adkins, teacher out at Waco, She's been appointed by the governor to serve on the Reading, Diagnostic, and Intervention Grant Steering Committee. So we appreciate her willingness to serve in that capacity, and it's a big honor for her and for Madison County Schools. And also, congratulations to Janine Mosher and Alexis Patterson. They won the Grissom Award. It's given by the Kentucky Department of Education for innovation in special education. Ms. Mosher and Ms. Patterson teach at Madison Central, and they run the Person First Academy. So you guys have been out there, you've seen that piece, very neat. Also, today was the first day for our new principal at the Madison Kindergarten Academy. Ms. Monica Stacy is the new principal. She's been there since the beginning of MKA and served as a teacher there at Bellevue prior to that. So very excited about having her step up in that role. Also, Tuesday, we had new teacher orientation. We've got several new folks coming on to us. It's a great group. Some of them are veterans from other districts. Some of them are brand-new teachers to the profession, but they all seemed ready to go and ready to do great things for kids. Other than that, school opens next Wednesday, and we will be taking that tour of the building, so be excited to get you guys out and walk you through and let you see everybody. In fact, I was out at a school today, and there was a young lady, a student that was there visiting, getting ready for school, and she stopped and danced a little bit in the hallway, and she told me, I said, "You ready for school?" She said, "Yeah, this is my back-to-school dance." So kids are excited. I don't recall being that excited when I was that age, but they are, and that is absolutely wonderful. So we appreciate everyone's hard work in getting everything ready. That's my superintendent report.
All right. Next up is our comments from the board. You want anything?
I'll just kind of piggyback on what Dr. Gillen was talking about with our help with Eastern Kentucky. Super proud of Mr. Fritz and the Madison Central football team hosting the Breathitt County football team last week, providing meals and all kinds of things, just trying to, along with EKU, trying to help these kids get a little sense of normalcy. I was really proud of the work they were doing there. So, and just hope everybody has a great week next week. Drive safe on Wednesday.
And be patient.
And bring
Be
lots of
Patience,
patience.
yeah.
And leave your house a little bit early if you're dropping off.
Hopefully they'll get the bypass straightened up.
Yes.
Hopefully no traffic like we had today.
I would just like to give a couple of shout outs, like to our janitors, our maintenance crew. They've worked hard all summer to get these schools up and get them running because they look good. I walked into school today and I mean, the floors were immaculate and they look beautiful. And to all of our teachers that come in early to get the classroom set up, appreciate what you do to get your rooms ready for kids to come in. So, and lastly, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Clark. He stepped up when Mr. Cash left, and not only is he going to be the principal over Ignite Academies, but he stepped up over construction. And I think even though we're behind on our construction, but I think he has stepped up and pushed the ball a little further. So I think we're further than we would have been without him. So I know he's kind of running ragged, so I do appreciate the work that he's doing, though. That's all I got.
It is nice to see how the teachers are excited to go back to school. I see a lot of them come in and get things printed for their classrooms, and they spend
Yep.
their own money usually trying to decorate these classes.
Yep.
And be excited for the year, so it's a fun time. I wanted to be a teacher when I was a little girl. It didn't happen.
I'll just add quickly, that I'm very thankful that we're doing all these safety, after the way they ended the school year with the school shooting several, months ago. It makes me very happy because I have a lot of people that came to me asking me questions. Are you sure we're doing this? Are you sure we're doing that? And I'm like, yes. So hopefully, even though that was like a school reward day and a presentation day where the students were getting their awards, hopefully, knock on wood, I know our teachers are very diligent in still keeping those doors locked and our students safe and themselves safe, so, even on days like that. So hopefully we'll be just as diligent this entire school year, never stopping.
All right, next up is number 9, which is to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation for which disclosure would compromise posture per KRS 61.811C. So can I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss pending litigation for which disclosure would compromise posture per KRS 61.810?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Burford, second by Ms. Cool. All those in favor? Aye.
I guess I need to go down for it.